Hello everyone, I hope you're feeling better than I am. I came down with something over the weekend playing the Norwegian League. And yeah, yesterday I was completely dead. Today I'm somewhat better. I have chocolates, I have tea with honey, lots of honey. I have non-prescription drugs. Which I hope is going to help me throughout today's stream. Part of me wanted to cancel, but there is no way I'm canceling the Norway Gnomes decisive last round match in the Pro Chess League, and there's so much at stake. With a win today, we are going to qualify to the knockout stages. But also with a loss, we might very well be relegated. So I'm taking a look at this game between Tanya Sachdev and Demidov from the Volga Stormbringers, simply because I mean, if the Russians win their match, we're likely to relegate with a loss. So it would actually be very helpful for us if Tanya, with the bishop up, was able to win this game. My team is ready. My team includes Mr. Magnus Carlsen. So I'm feeling pretty optimistic. My team is all on the line, which is always a good sign. Today we're introducing Borki Predojevic as he makes his Norway Gnomes debut. The games will start in 5 minutes. I had some kind of agenda for what to say until we start, but right now I forget. Milk and honey and butter? No way. No way. Thank you, Visigoth, for the chair. For the win, he says. Yes, for the win today, making it to the knockout stages. That is our goal. Hello, everyone. Thank you to Distant Fire for the resub. Yeah, no, I'm not having any milk. No milk in my tea. Plain old black tea with lots of Norwegian honey. I'll do an infomercial. Norwegian honey, the best stuff there is. Yeah, lots of new emotes. Lots of new emotes. With the help of Sophia of chess.com, she did a magnificent job getting all the emotes ready before all of them disappeared. Okay, this is very bad news. The pawn on h2 is dropping off. Now it would appear that black can construct some kind of a fortress. Black just protects this pawn, and then maybe he's good. So I would... Yeah, but it's not so easy. If white can go on the 6th rank and attack g6, then it's going to be tricky. Probably this is good, and put the rook on g7 and just wait. Yeah, we're going to have a rule about the emotes. No putting too slow ahead of too weak. The saying is too weak, too slow. You can't just mix around like you want. Okay, this is a trick. If she takes on e4, then rook e7. Ah, but then maybe the pawn ending is winning. That was all very interesting. Last motivational words for the team. Well, the team is already kind of motivating itself. I did a roll call on the Facebook chat, and they started discussing the painting roll call, which apparently is a very important piece for feminism at some point in the 1800s. I'm gonna switch off my phone as well. Okay, so Tanya made a draw, and the Indians are up by 1 point, but probably Nagayanan will lose this position against Shakafiev. So probably the Russian team will they will be tied after 4 games. Okay, now the Gnomes are starting in 1 minute. 1 minute until we start. I'm gonna do a quick double check that all my guys are on the server. And they are, which is good news. I'll do a final good luck on the team chat. And yeah, the games are starting. The games are starting. We have Magnus Carlsen with the black pieces against Sander Kukk. We have, this is interesting, Nils Grandelius with the black pieces against Elvest. Elvest has been fantastic for Estonia this season. I mean, he's been winning almost every single game. It's really unbelievable. And then we have our debut by Borki. Borki is a really strong internet player, so I'm excited to see what he's gonna bring to the team. And then finally we have Elham with the white pieces against Boruchovsky from Israel. So yeah, it's gonna be a good one. I guess I'll stay with Magnus. Wow. Because he always guarantees some funky stuff. Okay, what was this opening? B3, then A5, trying to go A4, nudging this pawn, and then E5 and F6, trying to build a center with D5 next. Upshot says it's the first week he doesn't have Elvest on his fantasy. Wow, that's pretty big. I guess you went for Borki instead. Borki is really strong, so that must have been a difficult pick. The time control is 15 minutes plus 2-second increments. Never play F6 or F3 in the opening, says Yataman. Well, I mean, when you're the world champion and you manage to get 2 pawns in the middle, then I'm thinking maybe it's okay. Maybe you can do that, because right now he's in control of the center, and that's going to be, well, it's going to be the one-way street to board domination. He already dominated the world, and now he's going to dominate this board. Thank you to Space Otter for resubbing. Yeah, that's actually the thing I wanted to talk about. That so many people have resubbed. Well, the past 2 days basically, while I've been sick doing other stuff like, you know, sleeping and unpleasant stuff. And I just want to say to everyone that I really appreciate it. And resubbing is, well, it's the coolest kind of sub, right? Because that means you've been around, you've seen some shows, and you like what you see. Yeah, a lot of the Magnus subscribers to watch the Magnus video has resubbed. So that's very cool. I'm gonna put some honey in my tea, and by some, I'm not being cheap on the honey. Okay, so Magnus has completely taken control of the center against the lowest rated Estonian player. Now this Sander is no joke. I mean, he's been outperforming his own rating by 200 points. So he's going to be a tricky one. But I'm feeling pretty confident that Magnus, with his big center, is going to be able to win this game. I'm going to take a look at Nils, because I think this game is one of the most decisive ones, really. Elvest has been such a beast for the Estonian team, and Nils was a beast for us on the Super Saturday, which we won. He managed 7.5 points out of 8, which is, yeah, it's fantastic. But he hasn't been as good with the 15-2 time control as he was with the 10 minutes plus 2 seconds. So I'm hoping that Nils can come away with maybe half a point, maybe even a win. And that's going to be huge for the team's chances, because frankly, Elvest is their board 3. But he's their first board in number of points, so he may be board 3, but beating Elvest is essentially like beating their first board player, because he's the one getting the team all the points. Nils is an awesome name, says Nils. That's surprising. Smearbu wants me to comment on Sander's last name, Kukk. Yeah, it's a slightly childish from Smearbu, but yeah, it resembles, well, it's essentially the Norwegian word for, yeah, I'm not going to say the word out loud, but I'm guessing you can guess what it means in Norwegian, because it sounds like the same in English to some extent. I should Google nerd wax. Yeah, I don't know what you're referring to, but I don't feel too good, so I don't care. To keep your glasses in place. Yeah, that's interesting actually, because these glasses I can never get to fit properly. I was planning to wear these glasses which stay on, and also they're kind of computer glasses, since they don't have as strong a prescription. Is chess.com not streaming? Yeah, I'm sorry but I really do need to spend some time getting the honey fully integrated in my tea. Chess.com is not streaming. Chess.com is streaming at... no, Chess Bay already beat me to it. There's no competing with her. Okay, so we're watching Nils. Nils has a pretty decent position. Let's go back to Magnus. Wow. Okay, this is interesting. Magnus's position somehow deteriorated, I feel. I never really understand these things. Either black is much better, or white got in some promising stuff going on with this pawn. Actually, Magnus is going to take that pawn on the next move, and then he's going to have this amazing e5 square for the knight. So still looking pretty good for Magnus. Mr. Sander will have to go to g3, because if he went to h4 there would be some kind of fork thing going on. Okay, h5 for Magnus. Okay, so Magnus wants to attack, which is not uncommon for him. Or he's just grabbing some space. The only concern about Magnus's position is the pawn on f6, whether or not white can create some counter chances against it. But for the moment, he can just put his bishop on g7 and protect it. So that should be fine. Thy fat bat! Thank you for resubbing. Yeah, maybe I should mute while What microphone are you rocking? I don't know. I'm rocking the one that was recommended to me. The Samsung CO1. Sorry. Didn't bishop takes f5 win a pawn? Yeah, I don't know. Been there, looked at that, went on with my life. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Magnus could have taken a pawn. But Magnus doesn't really like giving away his bishops. And just as I said that, he has given away a bishop. That's actually kind of interesting. Magnus just gave away his bishop for really not that I can see any good reason. I guess he was scared about this knight coming to b5, creating some threats. And he just took it off. Wow. And now this pawn on f6 might actually be a problem. Because, I mean, you could imagine... Yeah, so white is trying to get his knight up to g4 and increase the pressure on this pawn. But Magnus is just in time to play knight e5. Thank you to Abdrlauf for the resub. Yeah, actually I have some carrots in the kitchen. I might go grab some at some point. But thank you for the thoughts, HMW Life. Okay, so they're spending a lot of time in this Grandelius Elvest game. Let's take a look at Borki. Okay, so Borki with the white pieces is slightly better in a Fianchetto Grunfeld. It looks pretty fine to me. Thank you to Flintheart for resubbing. Let's go Gnomes, he says. What do you think about Magnum's new tweet? I didn't actually see it. I saw somebody refer to it. It was about Kramnik and Anish, right? Okay, Elham. Elham, maybe rook e3. Maybe rook e3 saves the pawn on a2. Or, if he goes bishop e7, then probably taking this pawn is too risky because you would ruin your kingside structure. Elham is fighting against the Estonian first board. He's not better, but I don't think he's worse either. I think this could be an equal position. Maybe bishop e7, you can go queen c4. That would be pretty advanced stuff, but maybe that's good. Let's go to Magnus. Magnus without the bishop pair. Kill also resubbing. Thank you. Okay, so Magnus now playing h3 in order to prevent white from playing king h3. What's going on? But if you take this one, then Magnus is going to go knight e5, but then king g2 and white is a pawn up. Magnus might be in trouble. I think Magnus is in trouble. I think he regrets this decision to give up his bishop. And now he's feeling the pressure on this pawn on f6. And if white were allowed to go king h3, then he would be have so much time to double up on the f pawn. So yeah, Magnus is much worse. I think this is kind of a move of desperation on Magnus's part, because he realized that if he didn't do something, he would just be very slowly much worse. And by playing h3 here, I think probably the Estonian guy is gonna think that Magnus is up to something. But it feels to me like he's desperate. Actually, maybe he's just very, very clever. Takes rook h8, rook f3, knight e5, rook g3, knight takes g4. Wow. He's so good. He's so good. And then the point is that you win the bishop by some tactic. And then you won a pawn and you have attacking chances and so on. Bear from Ukraine! Thank you for resubbing. Yeah, that's too many arrows. Yeah, and the line I was talking about is coming on the board. The line I'm talking about, it's coming on the board. And now knight e5 and knight takes g4. That's very, very nice. That's very, very nice. Yeah, so I guess he was in control. I guess he was in control, but yeah. Into the breach, recommends Banjo Snorkel. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna stick with chess for this month, at least, with the candidates and stuff. Too weak, too slow, questioning Magnus. Yeah, no, I spent some time catching up with that stuff. That was pretty clever stuff. Pretty clever stuff. Okay, but actually this is still not clear. So Sander avoided the tactic, so Magnus got his pawn back. But there's still the issue of pressure toward the pawn on f6. So while Magnus is probably better, there's no easy solution here. Thank you to Blue Window for resubbing. You sound sick, says Cheese. Did you catch a cold? I don't know. I think I caught something way worse. Because yesterday I had like a 40 fever, which to Americans I don't know how to translate, but that's pretty bad. You should start looking up the Celsius system, you know, seeing as how the entire rest of the world is using it. $134? No, that can't be right. 104, that sounds correct. Thank you to the bear. Why couldn't white play rook takes g4? Because of rook takes h3 and then some picking up the bishop at the end. I'm not going to go back to it. Let's look back at Nils. Nils against Elvest. I really think this is going to be so crucial to how this match will end up. Elvest is their third board player, but he's their #1 point scorer. So getting a win in this game would be so huge. I don't really know what either guy is up to. I guess this queen f6 is trying to prevent e3. Because now you can take, and there's some threats towards b2. And yeah, I don't know, maybe a move like b3. But the thing is, if you touch this pawn, then you allow for the black knight to get into c3. So while Magnus is probably better, there's no easy solution here. Thank you to Blue Window for resubbing. You sound sick, says Cheese. Did you catch a cold? I don't know. I think I caught something way worse. Because yesterday I had like a 40 fever, which to Americans I don't know how to translate, but that's pretty bad. So it's a tricky situation. Bishop a5. I don't think he's going to take this one, but I think he needed to move the bishop in order to put the knight on d2. And there was only one available square for the bishop. So he's going bishop a5 just to sit there, and then go knight d2 on the next move. So if I was Nils, I'd probably consider something like knight a4, because then if knight d2, I can go b6, trapping the bishop on a5. Yeah, I like that move, knight a4. Okay, knight d5. I like that less, because now knight d2 will have a threat against the knight on d5. So you're not in time to play b6. So knight d2, you need to protect this one. Maybe he's just gonna go bishop e6. Just bishop e6 and then go b3, and he has nice centralized pieces. He has better control over the center. Yeah, I think Nils is better. Magnus might be better, but more so he's up 9 minutes on the clock. So it doesn't really matter whether he's better or not. It just matters whether he can keep the game going. And he definitely can keep the game going, because the knight is making the rook stay passive, protecting the pawn on d3. And now next move, Magnus will play b5 in order to create a second weakness on b3. So yeah, this is looking good for Magnus. Let's take a look at Borki. Borki has a nice position. It's opposite colored bishops, but the pawn on e4 is really weak, and he has control over the c file. So it's not much, but I really gotta say I like Borki's position. I would go queen e2 maybe, and it's kind of a trap because I want e5 d5. And if rook takes d5, then g4, and there's a skewer at the end with the rooks on the diagonal. Okay, so he goes rook c7 instead. Okay, that's interesting. After e5, he just wants d5 and create a passed pawn. And this pawn on e4 is still going to be in loads of trouble. Yeah, I think it looks like it's not much because of the opposite colored bishops, but I actually think Borki is much better, and he's also up 3.5 minutes on the clock. Elham, how are you doing? You lost a pawn. Yeah, you lost a pawn, and now you have 2 black passed pawns coming at you, and that's not gonna be good news. It's going to be pretty much impossible to fight against those 2 pawns. Let's go to Magnus as the time is running out. Oh, Magnus just won a piece, and it has made his opponent resign the game. So I should go back and update the score. A good start for the Gnomes, going up 1-0. Udai has subscribed, but it didn't show up. I'm sorry. I'm still thankful, even if the hammer doesn't strike down from the sky. Okay, we're gonna go to Nils and look how he's doing. I think Nils is doing very well. I like that he still has control over the center. He also got the... Thank you to Udai for subscribing. Get well soon. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. So I kind of like Nils's position, but this is the kind of thing that could go either way with people being low on time. For instance, right now, Bishop A5 could be annoying, trying to get at this pawn on C5. I could see this going either way, and whichever player copes with being low on time the best is gonna win this. And to be honest with you, I don't know which one of the guys that is, because Elvest has been such a beast. Such a beast. I don't want to... I'm not going to take anything for granted in this game. Okay, we're going to check in with Elham. Yeah, B2 looks to be a good move. B2, you actually have rook d1. Elham is fighting, but unfortunately he lost his pawn on f4. Had this been a rook endgame with the pawn down, he might have been able to save it. But seeing, but now king e2, rook e4. That's going to be a resignation coming. So a good game from Boruchovsky. But that was their #1 rated player. So Elham is going to get more chances in the coming round. I gotta go for him. Thank you to Naselnuff for cheering. That's a big chair. I'm gonna pretend like you said good luck Gnomes. We're gonna need it. Okay, so it's 1-1. Elham had to resign. The pawns became too much. How is Nils doing? I mean, this is such a passive setup from Elvest. I mean, he's putting his bishop back into starting position. Almost all his pieces are on the bottom ranks. And still, it's not clear. Because white has the better pawn structure. And now he's striking back with this b4 move. And Nils has a tough decision. Nils, it's very tricky how he should respond. Yes, this move I like. But now the attack against this one forces him to take on b4. Now by taking back with a pawn, well, these two pawns are now clear weaknesses for Elvis to go after. Wow. Such a tricky guy. Okay, rook f5. It's a good move. f3, that's a very committal move. But I really would have liked to see Nils play g4 at an earlier opportunity. So now I guess Elvis is going to go after this pawn, and then he's just going to hope that this king side holds together. Yeah, I don't know. It looks weird what Elvis is doing, but if it works, who's gonna care, right? So now probably he needs to go bishop g2 in order to prevent rook takes f3. If he allows rook takes f3, then then he's a very brave man. But on the other hand, wow. Rook c5, a6. How about g4 now? Nils really should have played g4 at some moment. Maybe he should do it now. At this point, maybe Elvis will just take it. No, I think Nils is in big trouble. I mean, this setup looks ridiculous for white. But it's just so effective going after the pawns while black doesn't have anything to attack. Wow! Rook c8? I mean, you're just inviting this rook takes f3. I have no words to describe how brave that is. Wow, so takes, queen takes, rook takes, takes back, queen takes, and then rook e2. Rook e2. And Nils has no follow-up. That is insane. That is so brave. And Nils just avoided it. Nils realizes that stuff is not going to work out. Okay, let's take a look at Borki. That's not good news. Borki has won a pawn, but it has become more drawish opposite colored bishop, because this bishop is doing a very good job of controlling the passed pawn. So if this pawn was more like here, then I would be pretty optimistic. But right now it feels like it's a draw. But on the other hand, the guy is really low on time. Maybe bishop a6. Bishop a6. Maybe you can even do an exchange sacrifice. Yeah, because now he's close to just taking this one. H4 now, trying to put the pawns on black squares. H3. That's kind of strange. Bishop a6, bishop a6, good opportunity to play bishop a6. And if he takes, then you go back to b5. But he goes there. There, black had a chance to take this one and do the... Yeah, but maybe that's not good. Okay, so he goes back. I still maintain that going here first was a better idea. d6 check! Sorry about the sound. That's a very good move. Very, very, very good move. And now d7 check. No, but then you take here. Okay, so you take this one and then you go d7, and you definitely made some progress here. You definitely made some progress. Nils offered a draw. Yeah, but I don't think the guy is gonna accept. Nils offered a draw, but I don't see the guy accepting. Ooh, this is nice. King h3, then bishop takes h4. Is probably checkmate somehow. This check, if you were to take the bishop, then queen h8 was checkmate. But now you have a problem defending this one, because now you take this one and you go queen e7, queen e7, and he's going to take this one and Nils is going to take this one. And now there's at least a draw on the board for Nils. Is Nils going to go for more? I kind of hope not. I don't see Nils going for more. I don't think there's any way of checkmating this king. Okay, so it's a draw for Nils. So now it's down to Borki. Okay, so Borki still has this passed pawn one square away from queening, but this is not going to be easy to win. And Ladva has done a very good job being on increments for so long and still fighting, because this has been a very, very difficult game for him. And he's fighting very well, very well. Look at this. The stuff he constructed against this f2 pawn, There's no way of getting through that. Borki is not gonna make any progress here. And it's a draw by repetition. Wow, that's a great save by Ladva. Great save by Ladva. He was in real trouble there, and he managed to get out of it. Big save from Ladva there. Udai comments that in India 1.3 billion people use Fahrenheit. Okay, I did not know that. So the world is kind of divided between Fahrenheit and Celsius then. We should just agree on one thing and then get on with it. What do you use in your hair hammer? Right now it's sleep deprivement and water. How come you aren't playing in the decisive match? Well, right now I'm so happy I'm not. Because the way I'm feeling, I wouldn't be able to play. I would be so happy to make 2 points, and I don't even know if I would make that. What happens in the event of a match score draw, asks Martin Diveni. That's a very good question. It means that we will not be able to overtake the horses in the standings. So the horses will qualify to the knockout stage, but at the same time making a match draw will give us enough points to avoid relegation. So basically the status is that with a win we will qualify for the knockout stages. With a loss we might. Some team management duties. Where was I? Yeah, with a win, we will qualify to the knockout stages. With a draw, no, with a loss, we might be relegated. Whereas with a draw, we will not qualify, but we will not be relegated. So draw is kind of the boring, nothing bad happens, but nothing good happens either. The Jugert asks, are you doing something for the candidates? Probably I'll do a stream for the final two games. So probably a Norwegian stream with the final 2 games I'm planning. For English language coverage, you will have 20 different options. So I'll probably, if I do something, it'll be in Norwegian. Visigoth says, draw. Nothing good happens, nothing bad happens. Just like in chess. Who are playing for the Gnomes today, asks Muffle. Today we have Mr. Magnus Carlsen on the first board. World champion, pretty good player. We have Grandelius, the best username in all of chess.com. Nils Grandelius, who is definitely Grandelius, and he's board 2. We have a new player, Borki Predojevic, on board 3, and he's very strong. So I'm excited to see what he can bring in the decisive match. And then on the final 4th table, we have Elham Abdrlauf. making sure that our average goes down and also hopefully can pick up the odd point. Completely transparent says that the candidates might be sent on NRK with Torstein Ba and the crew. Wow, I would love to hear a source for that. Or are you saying something secret? Or are you just making stuff up? That would be very interesting information. Because I mean, the candidates is about to start in 4 days. It would be kind of short notice to do some kind of broadcast. What is Grandelius's rapid rating in real life? I don't know, but he was killing it at the Super Saturday a couple of weekends ago. Okay, this is interesting. Magnus against Elvest. So our number 1 player against their number 1 point player. So Magnus getting a win here would be very, very nice. We have Grandelius with the white pieces against their number 4, Sander. We have Elham with the black pieces against Ladva. And then we have Borki with the black pieces against Boruchovsky. Okay, it's an interesting round and it's an interesting team setup for both teams, playing with 3 grandmasters and a lower rated player on the final board. And I think my mathematician, Mr. Nielsen, says that this also, according to the expected score of the ELO system, is the best way to construct a team. Any questions about that? I refer to him and his Twitter account. Nils is 2630 in rapid. Borki going for a draw? I don't know. Borki is just playing some system, I think. I think you can play basically any opening in rapid and get away with it. So it'll be interesting how he plans to proceed. This is the Fort Knox system, known for its solidity. I don't know, was Fort Knox ever robbed? I would kind of assume not, seeing as how it has a pretty solid reputation outside of banking. I'm gonna have some more tea. I'm out of tea. That's actually poor planning. Who lost in the last round, asks Avalanche. Elham. Elham lost in the last round. He was playing their number 1, Boruchovsky. Okay, so Magnus has given away a bishop, but he has a decent center. And I really think he's gonna go booyah! I'm gonna do some booyah in the chat. Going g4. Yeah, I don't think he can ever hold back. Oh, he can. He's gonna go d4 instead. So now he's valuing central control. So he's gonna go d4, he's gonna chase this bishop back, and then he's gonna go g4. So it's coming, but it's a delayed booyah. It was played today against Elham. Interesting. Elham lost that game, I saw. So the Fort Knox is doing pretty well today. Fort Knox was robbed in Die Hard? No. It's gotta be one of the late ones then. Okay, G4, there it is, says Siggy. Yeah, G4. H4. There's no holding him back right now. Carlsen is going for it. And if I was Elvis, I would be nervous at this point. Because those pawns are coming really quickly. And this counterattack with B5, not so quick. But on the other hand, when you play B4, you chase away the knight. And then you might have a chance at attacking this pawn on E4. These Sicilian positions, to me, they're so complicated. So G6, that makes sense. But now I think Elvis is going to go B4. And then Magnus will take back. And does he have to move the knight? Maybe he can go... Maybe then he can do some Queen H5? No. Yeah, then he can do Knight D5. Maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe, yeah, maybe B4 now. Goldfinger, that's a Bond movie, right? Yeah, no, that sounds familiar to me. That they broke into Fort Knox in a Bond movie, that sounds... I seem to remember something about that. Okay, takes back and then put the knight on F8. They say you can never get checkmated with a knight on F8. And today I really hope that doesn't hold true. But I don't know. Magnus is down a pawn. And his opponent has the bishop pair. So he really needs to do something to justify this. What actually happened here? Takes? With this. No, probably it's very good defense by Elvis. Very good defense. E5. What? Okay, so he's giving up this rook. He's giving up this pawn. He's giving up a lot of stuff. This could be make it or break it for the Norway Gnomes. I mean, if we win this one, we could win the entire thing. Lose this one, and we could be out of the Pro Chess League. It's a bit early to make that call, but this is the top two players of the teams. Getting a loss here would be problematic for the Gnomes. What is going on? I mean, honestly, I don't even see the point if he just takes here. Okay, now I'm starting. If you take this one, he actually takes on F6. And then you take out the bishop, which is the main defensive piece around Black's king. So that makes sense. But on the other hand, what if you just take this one? I'm guessing if you take, Magnus is just going to take back. He's just going to take back, and then he's going to say that he gave himself this E4 square for the knight. Yeah. It's interesting, if nothing else. It's very interesting. What is the chat saying? d takes, then knight takes. Yeah, but on the other hand, if you wanted to give this knight for this bishop, surely you would have done it on the previous move. I mean, Magnus in this position did have the option of taking the bishop and then going e5. Which, come to think of it, also looks pretty good. So going e5 first, it confuses me. And clearly it also confuses Mr. Elvest. Because he started thinking about something. And he's going to go for it. He's going to take the rook. And Magnus takes on f6. And now this bishop has to go back. So let's put it on b7. And then I guess Magnus is just taking on g7 and getting that passed pawn very close to the king and hoping to use it for an attack. Or maybe, I mean, Magnus might even be considering knight takes b5. He might be considering knight takes b5, and then the knight gets the square on d6, and then he's gonna go f7 at some point and get the fork on d6. But he's got to be careful about how much material he gives up. Because at some point he might sit there with no material left and no attack because the material ran out. So knight takes d5 is also something to consider. I mean, Magnus will do it if it's good, and if it's not good, he's not going to do it. But regardless, Elvest is going to spend a couple of extra minutes trying to figure out whether he needs to go to c6 to protect this b5 square or not. What about bishop b7, knight takes e6? Knight takes e6. It just seems so risky to put yourself in this pin. But yeah, that's interesting. Just take that one on e6. Because you do threaten the queen. You do threaten the queen. This is very interesting. Okay, so this is interesting, and this is interesting. And apparently the chess.com chat is saying that this was a bad move by Elvest. And for the life of me, I don't understand. Because, I mean, he's saving his bishop. It was by far the most natural move in the position. And Magnus isn't sure what to do. But Magnus is calculating. And normally when Magnus is calculating, you should be afraid. You should be very afraid. That means he's onto something. You're here looking fine, says King Coney. Well, thank you. Okay, so Magnus goes for option, I'm going to call it number 1, because it's the one I mentioned first. I have no idea whether it's a good move. I was starting to like this knight takes e6. But I suppose you can do it later. But now e5 makes a lot of sense to me, because you need to block this diagonal. The bishop on b2, you really need to block it. So e5, I'm going to say e5 makes a lot of sense. But e5, maybe Magnus can go queen h2. No, but queen h2, you can just ignore the threat of queen h8 and you can go just take on d4. It's very complicated. Very complicated. Who's playing today's round for the Gnomes? Ask full stop. Today we have Magnus Carlsen playing a very interesting game against Elvest. We have Nils Grandelius. Nils is... Did he steal a pawn on a7? He did. Cheeky guy. He stole a pawn on a7 and he gave away the bishop here. So that's interesting. Nils is on board 2 against Sander. And then we have on board 3, we have Borki. And Borki is dead lost. Borki is dead lost against Boruchovsky. That is very bad news. Wow. Okay, Borki is dead lost on board 2. That's gonna be a big problem. And then, no, on board 3. And then we have Elham playing on board 4. And his bishop is in trouble. The bishop is lacking escape squares. And e4 is coming up. Yeah, so that's tricky. How do you deal with that? Probably he needs to go g5. But he really needs to speed up. This is what I haven't understood about Elham this season. He's such a quick player over the board. But in the pro chess matches, he's been down on time every single game. Okay, I'm gonna go back to Magnus and his attack. Wow, he's taking on b5. He's taking on b5. He's sacrificing another piece. Well, to be fair, he had only sacrificed an exchange already. But how do you now deal with bishop a6? How do you deal with bishop a6? I'm not sure. Bishop a6. I mean, Magnus is a full rook down. So if black just manages to exchange off some stuff, that would be good news for him. Ah, this is so good. Bishop a6, sorry. Bishop a6, then queen h2. Bishop takes b5, queen h8 check. King f8, then you queen. Rook takes, and then queen h7. And in the end, you win the queen on c7 along the 7th rank. That's very, very nice. And now when Magnus takes on d6, it's no longer possible to block this diagonal. The question is, should he go queen h2 first? No. Let's put the knight here, and then probably queen h4 is the only way of stopping the white queen from getting to h2. But at that point you have so much going on that you should be fine. Bishop e5, wow, just protecting this knight. I mean, I would have spent at least a couple of minutes calculating queen h2. But he's just protecting stuff. I'm gonna have a Okay, what has happened? Things are still going on. Magnus is a piece down. He's coming on the H file. He's doing some attacking stuff. Rook d8 checkmate. That's a nice finish. Rook d8 and checkmate. Wow. What a game. What a game. What a game. Game of the week, says MCF in the chat. Yeah, I don't see anyone matching that for game of the week. It's arguably the most important match of the day. The #1 point scorer on each team playing against each other. And then just butchering the guy. Wow. Mutz asks, was that calculated all along? Is that even possible? No. No, that was not calculation. That was attacking intuition. Magnus has a lot of attacking in him. He just chooses. Well, he's very good at that, but he's also even better at other stuff. As a kid, when he was like 14, 15, he was playing some really amazing attacking games. Okay, we're gonna go to Mr. Grandelius to see how he's getting along. He's a pawn up, but his opponent has the bishop pair and also a very nice square for his pieces on e5. And now he faces a difficult decision because he could actually take this one and then walk the king up to e5. Probably I would hold back, but there's also the threat of bishop h3 in some lines. And the team chat is going a bit crazy about Magnus's win. Okay, actually e5 is interesting at this point. e5 takes rook e4, king f5. It feels close to being something. Maybe f3, threatening bishop h3. And then if the rook moves, you go h4. And you kind of surround this pawn on f4. e5 is very interesting. Fanbra says e5 just blunders a pawn. Well, that is your opinion. It might blunder a pawn. I don't know. It looks decent to me. And now Magnus and Fressinet in the team chat are discussing alliance. And Magnus is admitting something I don't think I should say on the stream. Wow. Yeah, now they're discussing a lot of lines. That's interesting. Don't see any compensation, says Fressinet. Yeah, I don't know. Stuff was going on in that game. And they played so quickly as well. Okay, we're gonna take a quick look at the other games. Borki is still lost against Boruchovsky, but he has a better position than he had some time ago. But he's still an exchange down and nothing good really going on. Elham is definitely an exchange down, and he has absolutely nothing good going on. So we really need Nils to take this one in order to stay level in the match. Why is Fresnay not playing? Asks Yata Man. Yeah, no, that's a good question. But he kind of got benched after succumbing to a mate in one of our previous matches. And after that, neither he nor me was too keen to bring him along. Grandelius is going, he blundered the rook on h1, I guess. Yeah, no, actually that is what he said. He said he blundered the rook on h1. Well, it worked out okay. It worked out. Okay, so Nils has gotten a pawn on the black squares. So that's pretty good. And now he's a pawn up with some dark squared control. So yeah, there's no easy games here, but Nils should be able to do something about this. Siggy swears Magnus isn't even good, just lucky. Yeah, I'm gonna disagree on that. I think he's GOAT. Speaking of which, where is the... Here it is. Let's do a couple of those. He's the GOAT. I think you're wrong. Okay, Elham has lost his game against Ladva. And I'm thinking Borki is about to lose his game against Boruchovsky. So that leaves Nils with a pawn up and good chances. Okay, but there's still a very active king for black, and also a passed pawn on d5, so he definitely has counter chances. On the other hand, he's also 1 minute down on the clock. This move is interesting, because now if bishop f3, then rook g1, and if you try to exchange the rooks, black is actually gonna just do it and then come with the king attacking these queenside pawns. So Nils is playing king f1 to avoid the rook coming down to g1. And then I guess other bad things might happen. d4 at some moment, I would think, for black. Now he's given Nils an opportunity to play a5, and he takes it. a5, I like that move. Borki is fighting, says Magnus on the chat. Borki has 5 seconds left. 5 seconds left. I guess what Magnus is referring to is that if rook f2, then rook d1. And then rook d3 next, and rook c1. To be honest, even that I would think is losing. But Magnus says Borki is fighting, so I'll take his word for it. How do you... I guess rook e1 is the kind of chicken move. And then rook d5 defends along the 5th rank as the same time you attack toward g5. So yeah. No, it would be big if he could get something out of this, because he was lost from very early on in the opening. Okay, so Nils's opponent is down to seconds on the clock. Rook c7, that's a good move. And now d4, threatening bishop c4. Big threat of bishop c4. Probably Nils should go king e1. Bishop e2 instead. That's a good move, because now if bishop c4, then rook h3. Yeah, bishop c4 was probably a very bad idea, because now the rook is going to be very effective on the h file. Yeah, now it's over, I think. f3 and king d3, and then the rook on the h file is kicking the king away. Maybe you should even take this one, actually. Yeah, I think take this one. And then take this one. Maybe actually you don't care too much. You're just going to go with the pawns anyhow. Okay, so Nils is going to win this one. And then we have Borki. Borki is fighting. But the king is going to run away. King b3 now. The king is going to run away. I don't think there's any saving this one. Even rook here is just going to be very, very good. I think it's going to be 4-4 with Nils winning this game. Rook takes f2, and that's going to be resignation. This pawn is queening on the next one. Okay, so that's a point for Nils. So we're up 4-3. But Borki is still very lost. But Avital is down to 8 seconds. That's... wow. Actually there, I mean, Borki had the opportunity to take this pawn and then take this pawn. I wonder if you can create some kind of fortress with one rook. Wow! 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 No! Borki is winning! Wait, he took the wrong rook, no? Borki is winning. How did, what? Borki is winning. No, not f6. Okay, now Borki is not winning anymore. f6 was a massive mistake. Huge mistake by Borki. f6, that is so bad. Okay, so it's going to be a draw. But that was, maybe it's not going to be a draw. Wow, that is very cool. I didn't know about this kind of thing. Okay, so apparently it's a win anyway, because now you get checkmated on h3. Wow. What a turnaround. What a turnaround. Wow. Wow. Okay, 5-3. Borki! Team chat going pretty crazy at the moment. Wow. What a comeback. Why is f6 bad? Well, it would seem that it wasn't bad after all. But the thing is that when you have this pawn on the 7th rank, you don't really need to go up, because every time the rook moves, you can take on a7 and protect your pawn on f7. So by going f6, you remove this option of moving the king off the board, because if Borki were to play king f4 here, then rook f8 is going to grab this pawn. Whereas if the pawn has stayed on f7, then the rook, when it takes on a7, would protect here. So I thought f6 was a big mistake, but maybe it was fine. Maybe it was fine. Maybe actually here. Maybe here if he goes king g1. Maybe king g1 is a draw. Probably not. I don't know. f6 seemed like a big mistake to me, but it worked out. The Gnomes won the game, which it was not a game we were expecting to win. So here Borki is just an exchange down. He has been for basically the entire game. And look at the knight. Look at the knight checking its way to a fork. And actually when he does this fork, at this moment I would say that probably white is already in big trouble, because this pawn is dropping off as well. I thought it was kind of strange not taking this rook, but actually Borki was correct. Because if he takes this rook and then on g5, then there's some rook e5. Yeah, no, I think that was correct. I'm not too happy about this f6 move, but he won the game, and that's what matters. We need 3.5 out of 8 to seal the deal. Okay, that's good news. Some of the other good news is that we have Magnus on the team. So 3.5 out of 8 might actually be 1.5 out of 6. Although, jinx alert. Yeah, I'm gonna do a break while the games are having a break. Okay, I'm back. Magnus, huh? Back to his old tricks. Alex, thank you for the chair. Yeah, I am a bit sick. I think some may have noticed. But yeah, I had a good break because now I refilled my teapot and now I'm gonna go crazy on the honey again. Okay, I'm not too concerned about Magnus playing this opening because it's kind of what he does, right? But I am concerned that he's not moving. Because is he having internet trouble or something? That would be kind of serious. Well, that's a lot of honey. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to take that much. Chicken soup. I only have fish soup. Nice Norwegian fish soup. I might get some of that. Well, I mean, if you think this opening is weird, you should have watched last week. He's still scoring points, so I don't really care. Okay, let's look at the other guys who are actually making their moves. Thank you to Simon for resubbing. Okay, so Nils is playing Boruchovsky, some London system, but normally white moves his bishop back to g3. Here he sticks with the bishop on f4. It's an interesting concept, and I would think Nils is going to try to attack the d4 square, but also he would like to put his knight on e4. So a move like b6 makes some sense. No, he's just going straight for this pawn. Straight for that pawn, going with the queen as well. Okay, so there's easy pressure against this pawn. And, a double plan. If knight to b3, then he will go knight to e4. And so he gets both things. He gets both the pressure against d4 and he gets to put his knight on e4. So both things I was mentioning as a plan, he's going to be able to do. Okay, this is actually pretty strange from Ladva. He's putting his bishop on c4 and he's just screaming out for d5 to be played. So I guess if d5, he's actually going to take on c7 and win a pawn. But then it feels like black has some compensation for that pawn in form of the bishop pair. But you wouldn't put your bishop here if you weren't intending to grab the pawn. So this could be interesting. Jake has a good question. If the Gnomes win, are they dependent on any other results to reach the playoffs? And the answer to that is no. If we win, we are in the playoff, independent of any other results, which is to credit the Indian team playing against the Estonia horses last week. So the Estonia horses lost their match last week, and as a consequence, we control our own destiny. Or maybe it was Armenia, actually. Well, thank you, big thank you to Armenia, and a big thank you to Glenn, who has just subscribed. I muted myself while I was aggressively stirring my honey into the tea. Okay, so Magnus is doing okay-ish. He's a bit passive, but it's gonna be fine. What happened with Nils? Okay, Nils did this plan, and then he should have just gone here, I would think. Actually, maybe he was concerned about taking and then knight g5. But he's gone knight b4 and then bishop d7. And after knight c5, he's gone knight a6. Interesting. And then queen c2. And now queen c2 threatens knight takes d7. So maybe move this bishop and then go rook c8. If Nils manages to exchange off or force this knight away from c5, I would think he's quite a bit better. But there's a big question of whether he can manage. Actually, he could consider just taking this one. Take back with a pawn and then queen c7 with a little attack on f4, and then start putting things toward the pawn on c5. Maybe even with the other rook, so that you can retreat this bishop. It's an interesting position. And Nils has taken. And then queen back, knight e5, rook c8. Yeah, no, to me it feels like he has pretty good pressure against this pawn. Ooh, he might even be considering queen b4. Queen b4, then still knight e5, but then bishop b5 attacks the rook and the queen is attacking f4. But then knight g4. Yeah, no, we're gonna keep a pretty close eye on this one. There's some interesting stuff going on. Okay, what is going on with Borki? b5, striking out against the knight on a4. Looks to be a decent move. Knight b6, wow. Okay, so what happens on rook b8? I mean, this knight is so close to being trapped. So close to being trapped. Team captain gets nervous. Team captain gets nervous about pieces like that. Rook b8, what is the idea? I don't know. I can't tell. Wow. If rook b8, then actually bishop takes c6, rook takes b6, bishop takes e8. And then if you take back on e8 with the queen, you lose the knight on f6. If you take back with the knight, then your queen is hanging on e7. That's pretty advanced stuff. But on the other hand, if you just move the rook away from e8, then the knight is still trapped, no? Maybe then you can go bishop d4. Now, if this works, Borki will have a brilliant position. If it doesn't work, that's a different story. Actually, maybe he should just go queen c7. Queen c7, then black is worse, but he's not that much worse. I mean, he's gonna have to allow the white queen getting into f6, but it might not be the end of the world. Outlines on the black text. Ah. I must admit I have never used dark mode. But you're saying that the emote too weak, too slow is not visible on dark mode? Does that apply for anything else? Does that also apply for the faster and the time and the goat? I'm not sure I can fix it, because I'm not sure I have the same available spaces I did when rushing this. All of them. Okay. I guess I'll do the feedback. Lastwerk. Yeah, I was on a deadline. Okay, so Borki fell to a trick. Borki got tricked, and now there's gonna come queen takes h4, takes back, and bishop takes b2. But he's gonna have knight c7 in the end, so this is just a mess. Might actually not be that bad for him, because that opposite colored bishop endgame is going to be favorable for white. So takes, and then knight c7, and then take this bishop. It's going to be opposite colored bishops, but it's still going to be a little bit better for white, I think, but not much. Okay, let's check up on Magnus. Magnus has gotten himself into an endgame. His opponent has doubled pawns in the middle. In general, when Magnus gets into an endgame, you're in trouble. But at some point I realized why Magnus is so good in endgames. It's because he's always manages to be a pawn up when he gets to endgames, and that's quite a big advantage. This time he doesn't have a pawn up. But maybe he's gonna win anyhow. I'm thinking maybe rook d7, and then takes this one, you take on e7. And if Magnus takes this one, you take on b7. And then you have the active rook on the 7th rank, and you're not even a pawn down. You might end up in a 3 against 2 on the king side, but that you should be able to hold. Oh, what's going on here? Nothing. Okay, I'll try to do the feedback on the dark mode and see if I can change some of the emotes. But I think I lost one of my emote slots, which is why I was in such a rush before I lost every slot. So, yeah. I'll see what I can do. Yeah, actually, Ladva is doing precisely what I said. So now he's taken on e7. He's going to take on b7 next. And it's going to be really tricky for Magnus to win this one. But if anyone can do it, I guess it's Magnus. Okay, let's go visit Nils. Wow! Nils is a pawn up. What has happened here? Nils did go queen b4. And then g3. I thought he needed to go knight e5. But after g3, just rook to c8. And then b6. And it's adios to the pawn. The pawn is trapped. And Nils is just a pawn up. And he even got the c file. I mean, everything is working for Nils. Pawn up. Control over the c file. He's definitely going to win this game. Okay, let's check in with Elham. Elham is not a pawn down, but there are other things that are bad news. Actually, he's just losing a piece on f3. There's no way to stop bishop takes f3 on the next move. Grandelius position. Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's check in on Borki against the 4th rated Estonian player. If Borki is able to win this, we might actually have chances to decide the match already. But winning this is going to be very tricky. Borki is worse. Borki is definitely worse. d4 here, and white is really needs to fight to make a draw. Yeah, no, I'm not really liking this. Borki is in trouble for the 2nd game in a row. If d4, then maybe f3 kicks the rook away. So black just moves the king up to make sure that the rook can escape to maybe d4 and go up here attacking. And now if e3, then d4 is good. Yeah, no, Borki is in trouble. He's in some proper trouble here. Okay, so he goes f3 anyhow. I guess rook d4 is coming. But rook d4, then we have rook c1. And then we can do the attack along the 6th rank against the pawn and the king. So black retreats his rook to take control over the 6th rank instead. And Borki has realized that he's trying to make a draw. So he's just, you know, trying to sit pretty, not do anything rash. But I don't know. Threatening rook c2, but if you go rook d2, then rook c1. Rook d3, what's the idea? If rook c2? Yeah, I don't know. Borki is in big trouble. How is Magnus doing? Magnus is doing quite okay. Magnus can get this endgame he wants, or he can get this endgame in worst case scenario with rook e1. But he's trying for more. He's trying to get more than 3 against 2. He's trying to get more than 3 against 2. I'm not sure how he's going to do that. The king is just going to go back and forth between g4 and g3. Yeah, I think 3 against 2 is the best he can get. I think he's gonna actually take these pawns now. I think he realizes there's no way to attack this rook with the king. So I think the best he can do is getting this 3 against 2 endgame on the king's side. Easy hold for Borki, says Bolthouse. John says Borki has saved worse than this. That is true. That is definitely true. Nils, I'm just gonna assume that he's gonna win this. Anything other than a Nils victory here would be very surprising. And then Magnus, probably a draw, but I've seen him win worse positions than this. I mean, at the very least, he's a pawn up. So he's able to win this with a pawn up. Okay, and now he's going for it. So we're going to get the 3 against 2 on the king's side. Should be a draw. But when Magnus is playing, anything can happen. What are your plans for celebrating if the Gnomes win today? Let me tell you. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna have a nice sleep. And some more non-prescription drugs. Hammer is a Carlsen fanboy. That is so true. Goat. Okay, so Elham has lost against Elvest. So now it's 5-4. But the remaining boards are looking pretty okay. Am I quoting Ellie Golding? I have no idea. Okay, Borki is a lost. I don't know how else to put it. I mean, Rook C3 next, and it's going to be a pawn endgame. Yeah, maybe I was being optimistic too soon. Borki is going to lose this game. And if Magnus only manages a draw, what's the score going to be? 6.5? 6.5, 5.5? Wow, that's very close. It's a bit too close to my taste. At some point it was looking like maybe we could get 8 points going into the final round. Okay, so I mean this is a complete draw. But his opponent has 2 minutes left. And Magnus knows that we're going to need every point we can get. So Magnus is going to be spending some time moving around. He's going to go with the rook here, the king here, and then the rook here, then the king here. He's going to have to play g5 at some point. For instance now. And then we're down to 2 against 1. Yeah, no, g5 now is just going to be a draw, isn't it? Yeah, I don't see really any chance Magnus is going to win this, but well, let's hope. I also don't see any chance Nils is not going to win this. So Nils is going to take a big win with the black pieces against Boruchovsky. But yeah, Borki, rook c3, and then he can just resign. Yeah. It's not good. It's not good. Okay, Nils is winning. Magnus is still moving around. This Magnus game is going to be a couple of hundred moves. Magnus is gonna move around for a very long time. But I don't think he's gonna get anywhere. I don't think he's gonna get anywhere. And this is interesting. Ladva is keeping his pace. So he's not hesitating. But that also kind of, it gives me the feeling that he's a little bit afraid. He's a little bit afraid of getting flagged, and he wants to keep his time more than 2 minutes. Okay, this is interesting. Magnus decides that with the king cut off on the F file, he's gonna go for F6. But now Ladva is gonna go, but then G5. Magnus is now going for the pawn on G3, seeing as how the king is cut off on the F file. It's interesting, but actually thinking about it, maybe he can go rook A5. That's a very good move, because now if G5, you can go king E2, and then you get the king back into defensive position. Yeah, that was very clever from Ladva. And then you take. And then you take, and then you're down to 3 against 2, but also, I mean, there's checks, right? There's so many checks. Yeah, I don't really see Magnus winning this. What's going on with Nils? Nils is still completely winning. Maybe even more so now than previously, because now there's an attacking. He can go pick up this pawn on F4. Sander played rook C3, and that means Borki can just resign, unfortunately, because now he lost this pawn, and he's gonna lose this pawn. It's not good news. What? The trolls are winning. This is huge news from Giesberger. Oslo is beating Riga, so relegation is off the table. That would be big news for us. That would be big news for us. That would be actually, that would calm my nerves quite a bit. But now in this part of the match, we are down 2-0 with their fourth board taking out a 2600 rated Grandmaster in Borki. So Borki made the huge save in the last round, but a comeback now. Just play queen f6, just take this pawn. Don't even think about it, Nils. Just take the pawn. Or take the bishop, that's also good. Okay, good job from Nils, winning a black game against their #1 rated player. And then all we're left with is Magnus trying to win a rook ending with a pawn up. Yeah, this I think I can take. So Nils wins his game to make it 6-5. The Oslo Trolls. The Oslo Trolls won a Twitter poll. So there was a Twitter poll between the #3 and #5 finishers of the European qualifier. And Oslo Trolls won that one. Or maybe it was #4 to 6. I don't remember precisely how, but you had to be one of the top teams not to qualify. And then there was a Twitter poll. Popularity contest, essentially. Which I think is fine. I think it's fine. popularity, winning a Twitter poll shows that you have a fan base. So I think it's okay. Okay, so we have a draw position going on between Ladva and Carlsen. And this is actually familiar to Magnus because he had the same defensive structure recently in his game against Kramnik from the Tata Steel tournament in January. And then Magnus made a draw with white, 2 pawns down, because the 2 G pawns cannot win a rook endgame. What did they win with the Twitter poll? Well, they won the honor of being a Pro Chess League participant. Okay, so Magnus has exchanged off the rooks. That means the game is coming to an end. And it's going to be a draw. Okay, so it became very close. Okay, so it's gonna be very close. Very close for the final 4 games. We need 2 points to qualify for the knockout stages. Costas asks, will you sell Magnus to another team if the Gnomes don't make the playoffs? I don't know. We may have to sell him if we are relegated. But if we don't make the playoffs, I hope to have him back next year. Thank you, Visigoth. 2 points for the win. Thank you for the chair. Elham's chance this game. Board 4 against board 4. Yeah, but the Estonian board 4 is so strong. And I mean, we just saw him win against Borki. Yeah, it's gonna be so close. And Elvest is such a beast playing against Borki. I'm very nervous. I mean, this is so close. It feels like we really had the game, the match, in our hands, especially with Nils doing such a good job winning against Boruchovsky. But now, anything can happen. Anything can happen. I'm actually gonna have some chocolate to make sure I get through the last round. Can somebody give me a score update on the Oslo against Riga match? This is very good Norwegian chocolate. It's Kvikk Lunsj. It's a better version of Kit Kat. I'll update the score. Which in turn is a worse version of Keks. Yeah, I don't know. Keks is good, but I prefer Kvikk Lunsj. Oslo 5, Riga 2.5. That I do not believe for a second. Because they started ahead of us, so they should be ahead of us on the score as well. Everyone is sick lately. Yeah, I don't know if something is going around, but I played the Norwegian League this weekend, and the venue was so small and everyone was huddled together and the air in the room was so bad. And I caught something. And I caught something really bad. Because yesterday I wasn't even talking. Maybe I haven't seen the question. Martin. Martin is asking about Borki. Well, the thing about Borki is that flu shots are optional in Norway. But recommended for some people with pre-existing conditions. Yeah. I've never taken a flu shot, but I know people who have to do it every season. Title Tuesday was cancelled. Yeah, I saw. Which made me kind of feel less bad about being way too sick to do my stream. But I don't expect myself to be back tomorrow for the Arena Kings. I think I'm gonna need some more rest. Oslo is winning 7-4.5. That sounds pretty good. Okay, so Magnus has started and he has played G3 and Bishop G2. So that seems like a normal enough opening from Magnus. We have Elham with the black pieces. He's playing against the Larsen opening with B3. And he's playing normal moves. We have Borki, and this is a huge matchup. Borki is playing Elvest, and Elvest has been killing it. He has been outscoring every single member of the Estonian team. And he's playing Borki, so that's going to be an interesting one. I think if we make a draw in this game, I think we will qualify. So I think a draw would be good enough to qualify here. And then we have Nils with the white pieces. And he's playing Queen B3. This is interesting, because if Nils plays it, it's probably something he prepared. And for some reason, the recommended move for black is B5. And for the life of me, I don't understand why anyone would want to play B5. But according to the computer and according to Mamedyarov, who played it against Gelfand, it's the best move. Okay, Bishop E7. To be honest, I've never seen anyone not do b5. So I don't know what to do if bishop e7. Bishop f4? Yeah, okay, it feels logical enough. And it's going to be difficult getting this bishop into play when the queen is attacking on b7. I think we will qualify, says Vertwich. Congrats on winning in Krage, says CM Magic. Thank you. That was actually quite a big deal for me. I think I played very well. And since Krage, I have gained like 15 rating points, which is good. I feel like I'm getting sick just watching you cough. Yeah, I'm sorry. But I just couldn't miss this exciting stuff. Mitch the Rock. Why aren't you playing yourself, Hammer? Well, I mean, today I'm just so glad I didn't put myself in the team. Because on Sunday, when you have to do the team, I was feeling slightly bad, but okay. And then on Tuesday, after the deadline, I was feeling completely dead. So, good decision benching myself. Because had I played with this illness, it would not have gone well. Good luck on making it to the playoffs, says Eric. Thank you. Do you still get the penalty if you have a doctor's note? Asks Alex. I don't know. I'd rather not find out. Are you planning on getting a microphone? I don't know. Well, the one I had was pretty expensive. I guess what you miss is having the muffler, the kind of, so that the sound isn't as sharp. Because it's supposed to be a directional microphone, but I've kind of gotten used to it picking up everything. And therefore I don't really care which direction I'm talking, because it picks up everything anyway. Okay, I like Borki's setup. I think this is a very nice way to play with black. He gets good central control and he's basically ignoring this aggression on the queen side, saying that if you kind of do something like b5, I go knight d4 and then I take control over the center. So I think this is a good strategy for Borki. Some people are saying they have trouble seeing the chat. I don't know. Borki has a Bosnian flag. Bosnia and Herzegovina. It's the country of well, I guess it's where the prince got killed, the prince that started the First World War. It's the country of Zeku, and well, it's where Zlatan emigrated from. So yeah, they have some high-powered people. Prince Ferdinand. Yeah, I guess he wasn't from Bosnia, but he got killed in Sarajevo. Echo chamber acoustics. Now that I think is because of the room, not the mic, right? A filter really improves the quality. So a filter would be the thing you put on it, right? It's just, I don't know where I would go to get that. He was killed in Serbia? I thought he was killed in Sarajevo. The shots of Sarajevo. Dark Hugh says, you can see my message, but I can't see anything. Yeah, I'm sorry. I did see your message. But I don't know how to help you. Okay, let's go visit Mr. Carlsen. Carlsen, how did this happen? This looks like some kind of normal Nimso Indian. And how is that even possible from this start to the game? That's kind of freaky. Okay, so it's not really some kind of Nimso Indian because he still has his bishop. But it looks like a structure from the Nimso. Only this time the bishop is very well placed on the long diagonal. And I mean, there's an open A file. And there's an extra pawn in the center. Going c4 at some moment, kicking the knight away. I'm going to say that Magnus has a very pleasant position. It's kind of strange to me that Boruchovsky didn't take the opportunity to exchange queens and then go knight d5. It felt to me like he had some chances of making a blockade on the queenside squares, but now with the queen on b3 he has no chance of making that. Volga has won their match, says Cheeseburger. Okay, good stuff. Keep updating us. I want to know how Riga is doing, because now Riga is a very strong team, and if they lose their match, they might get relegated. Same thing happened to me. Refresh helped, says Bear from Ukraine. Okay, so if you're having trouble with the chat, do refresh. Riga is down 7 to 4.5. How can that be true? Because they're playing their last matches. So Riga got a 0.5 penalty in a deciding. It's a match that's going to get them relegated, and they got a 0.5 penalty for late substitution. Wow. You can buy pop filters on the line. And you say that's really going to improve my sound. Okay, I'll buy one of those. But how do I know the right size? Okay, I'll look into it. The Trolls got a penalty and still they're up by 2.5 points. Wow. 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 Yeah, no, I realize that my mic is not too close to me, but at the same time it gives me some liberties. I didn't think my sound was that bad, but I guess a lot of people think so. .5 penalty only comes to effect when the match ends in a draw. That's actually a very good point, Groger. That's a very good point. Oslo is winning on 2 boards. Please keep me up to speed on when Oslo has officially won the match, because then I'm going to do a little celebration. And in the meantime, Magnus has won a pawn on a7. So that's good. Let's take a look at Borki. And Borki has a complicated position with black. But on the other hand, I think it's a good position. I mean, he has good central control. Now, maybe this bishop h3, maybe this is very annoying. He would like to get out of that, but then he has to be careful about some knight slipping into e6. So he's chasing the knight away, but that's a big decision because now he has seriously weakened the b6 square. Okay, but he says I don't care because I'm gonna play b5 at some moment. Thank you to you, Bung. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it, but thank you for the chair. It might help us go all the way today. Elham is better, says the chat. Ed Pyson informing us that Elham has gotten a tactic. Okay, good stuff. Knight e4, takes, e5, then d5, takes, knight f6. Now this pawn is in trouble, and white had counted on playing g4 in order to kick the bishop away and then keeping the pawn on d5. But then knight takes g4, takes back, queen g5, exploiting the newly weakened position of the white king. And then after h3, I don't really know why Elham is thinking. He needs to go h5. Okay, he spent 50 seconds on that, which is shocking to me. Because over the board, he's just so fast. Too fast, I would say. But now he's too slow. Regardless, he has a promising position. I don't know about this h3 move. It feels like maybe he needed to go h4 and try to wiggle out of trouble. Because now, I mean, white is just getting checkmated, no? At the very least, he's at big risk of being checkmated. I mean, what's he gonna do? I can't even come up with a move for white. How old is Elham? Elham is 13. He was 12, but then he had a birthday, and now he's 13. H4 still? Yeah, but now H4 is so much worse than on the earlier move. Because now you go queen takes G4 and you take back with the H pawn. So last move, white would get back the pawn on E4. Whereas this move, he's not even getting the pawn back. Is there a meaning to Abdrlauf? I don't know. I don't even know the meaning of Norwegian words, let alone. Yeah, I don't really know the origin of his last name either. Most chess players tend to get older every year. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so now he's gonna take, then rook g1, queen h4, and Elham is gonna be 2 pawns and the bishop pair up, as well as the d pawn being in some major trouble. Yeah. I don't see Sander surviving this, especially seeing as how, you notice how Elham is playing so much quicker now? He's gotten some confidence. He's gotten some confidence. And I don't think you can survive against Elham with some confidence being 2 pawns up. Okay, let's go visit Magnus. Magnus is a pawn up in an endgame, which, according to my rule of thumb, means that Magnus is going to win. We're going to take a look at Mr. Nils. Nils, very difficult position to assess. So Nils can take the pawn on d5, but can he do so safely? Knight takes d5. Maybe knight d4 is some kind of freaky move. Yeah, this is too complicated for me to say anything. Knight d5, maybe just take back and knight f4. I don't know, this could go either way. And then we have Borki. And Borki is... he's worse. He's definitely worse. Elvest, man. What a dude. Winning all his games in the Pro Chess League. Yeah, Borki is definitely worse. Look at this bishop, which is bad because of the black pawns in the way. But also look at this bishop, which is bad because of the white pawns in the way. So this bishop is much better than both these two bishops combined. And that's not good news. And also white is first to attack on the B file. And he's also going to be first to attack on the A file and the C file. So Borki is much worse. Okay, so Elham has gone bishop h6. I'm not a big fan. I think he could have been 2 pawns up, no problem. But he's going for this bishop f4 idea. Yeah, I don't know. It's good for black, I'm sure, but the thing is that you're already 2 pawns up if you just take this one. So there's no need to get fancy, just take the pawn, put the rook in the center, and you're gonna win the game. So I think Elham is guilty there of wanting too much. Carlsen beat Elvis in big style, Visigoth. Playoff hype. Yeah, not just yet. Not just yet. I'm actually going to need a break, but I'm going to say Magnus wins this, and then we need to pick up 1 more point in the other games. That's a rook. That's a rook on g7, and Magnus has won the game. So 7.5 for the Gnomes. You need too fast, too strong emotes. Yeah, but the thing is, the emotes is primarily for my streams, right? I'm never too fast, too strong. Okay, so Nils is up 3 minutes on the clock, but there's some attacking threats. I'm not too happy about stuff that could go on. Actually, I quite like this move from Nils. If he just gets rid of that queen, then he'll probably make a draw. But that's why Ladva just went back. And still, this knight g4 is pretty annoying. That's a big threat. Knight g4 is a big threat. And also now, if h3, maybe d4 is a good move. d4 might be good, and then rook takes d4, you go rook c8, and you attack the queen and you attack the knight. I think d4 now is a brilliant move, and then I think Nils might lose. Ah no, wait, d4, then I take rook c8 and then queen e5. Maybe I get the knight back on f4. Okay, very complicated. What's going on with our friend Elham? Okay, so he was supposed to be 2 pawns up. Now he's not. Wow, but that was... Okay, so white got the pawn on e5. But it might not be the end of the world. Maybe... Elham is still pretty safe. I mean, he could just exchange and then take on h3. He's going to be a pawn up, and this pawn is going to be weak. There's going to be some people who say this is a passed pawn, and that's technically true, but it's a passed pawn without any support. And I think it's very likely it's going to drop off. So I'm going to say if Elham takes this one, he's going to be a pawn up, and he's going to end up 2 pawns up, because I don't see white being able to save the pawn on d5. So Elham could come through with a big win in the most important match of the season. And Borki is back in it. Borki is back in it. The B file. Black has taken control over the B file and now is attacking a pawn on d3. I'm not sure how that happened, but I like that it did. Let's go back. Rook b8. Rook b5. Maybe rook b5 is a mistake, because then he rids himself of one of the bad pieces, the bishop, and gets his pieces a little bit into play. The problem, of course, is that now that you've given away your white squared bishop, if you were to open up for the bishop to enter, then it would be a complete disaster. So black is still worse, definitely. But he has some chances of saving. Rook c1, rook c7. They're both down to 2 minutes on the clock. So I'm going to say some chances to hold, but probably lost for Borki. Queen b2, that's a good move. It's a very good move. Rook c, now you take this one. Or maybe you take this one first. Now you take this one first and then this one. And then you take this one. There's no checkmate? Okay, there's no checkmate, but surely there must be a draw somewhere. No, there is a checkmate. Queen e1. Queen e1 would have been checkmate. A huge mistake by Borki, I think. Had he played... Oh, sorry. Had he played Queen e1 first there, I think it was checkmate. Takes, Queen takes. Wow, that's a huge blunder. I think this was checkmate. Or maybe it's still checkmate. Maybe just Rook b8 and there's no way of stopping Rook b1. Yeah, no, this is not it. This is not it. What was the problem with Rook here? How do you stop? Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it. But Borki is still better. Borki is still better. And I did say that if we make a draw in this game, I think we're going to win the match. Okay, let's go back to Elham. Elham is rounding up the pawn on d5, just as announced. Next move, Queen d6, then he takes the pawn. I find it very likely that Elham is going to win this game. How about Nils? Nils has lost his queen. So d4 came, rook takes, and instead of rook c8, which I was talking about, there was knight d3. Because sacrificing this pawn means that there's a connection between the rook and the knight. And now knight d3 wins an exchange. Nils chose to give up his queen instead of the exchange, but now he's blundered more material with knight e4. Thank you to Itigs for resubbing. Norway is up 7.5. Okay, so this is getting exciting. Nils is lost. Borki missed an easy win, I would say. He was playing too quickly and he missed an easy win. And now we're going to need 1 point from Elham and Borki put together. And Borki is going to be a draw. No, Borki is going to try to win with Queen e2. No, Borki is making a draw. Okay. So Borki is making a draw. That means Elham needs to make a draw in order for the team to qualify. And Elham has blundered a pawn. Elham has blundered a pawn on b4. You could get nervous from less. Elham needs to make a draw. Yeah, that's going to be a tall order. Because Sander is back in the game and Elham is really low on time. So many times during this match it looks like we were in control. But now it feels like it's going to slip away at the very last minute. Nils was winning, wasn't he? I don't know. I wasn't paying too close attention. We were busy with other stuff. Good stuff was happening in the other games. Okay, so Elham is still... Elham is still a pawn up. Now he let his opponent come take the c-file. Not too big of a fan. But the thing is that White's pieces are so well placed and everything is defending each other. And Elham is really, really low on time. And now he's giving up the rook. Ooh, that's a big decision. So the bishop is going to do a good job defending on f7, defending on h3. But there's a pawn on a5. Rook d2. Yeah. King goes. Let's go h2. Yes. Takes. Takes. Then rook d2. Rook b2. I'm not sure. I guess you have to go bishop here. Now rook takes here. You have to go rook takes. Unfortunately, this is losing for Elham. Yeah, the pawn is just gonna walk in. Rook d8. Rook here. Okay, so it's a loss for Elham. Okay, maybe I should wait until he resigns. It's a loss for Elham. It's a draw for Borki. Pity, because he was winning there. And now Nils needs to make a draw, but he just got himself checkmated. Ah, that's a pity. At the very end. At the very end. Estonia grabs, I mean, they survived 2 bad positions, maybe even 3. I'm not sure how much better Nils was. And it's Estonia through to the knockout stages in the Pro Chess League. Norway doesn't qualify. But on the other hand, we are not relegated either. So it's a no contest in more ways than one. I don't know what to do. Is it allowed to swear over here? I don't know. Yeah. Inside. You can swear inside. Yeah. It happens. Next time, says Checker Sky. SL1Y asks, I'm relatively new to chess. What is happening here? What has just happened is that the Norway Gnomes have been knocked out of the Pro Chess League. In what can only be described as a shocking manner. We seem to be completely in control. But we had 3 results go against us in the final stages. Visigoth with the chair, not like this. Yeah, I agree, not like this. What? That's an interesting. I've never seen that one. Yeah. What to do? Everyone gave it away. Everyone gave it away. I don't know how Nils was doing, but Borki had a win in 1 move and he played too quickly. And Elham was winning, but you know, shit happens. And Nils I mean, Nils it was a complicated position, but he didn't need to lose. But Magnus going, no, Magnus actually gave away half a point this week, but I mean, any team with Magnus is going to be so good. He's scoring so many points. Georg is in the chat. Borki thought a draw clinches. He was totally winning when he forced a draw. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Nothing to do about it now. I'm gonna try to sleep a bit and become better for tomorrow. Hopefully I don't have to cancel my Arena King stream. Yeah, I'm gonna get some sleep and hope to be back. The Gnomes, we're out, unfortunately. Nothing to do about it now. Yeah, that's it from me. It's it from the Gnomes for this season. There will be a new season next January. I'm actually going to San Francisco for the final. I already booked my tickets. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll try to do a stream or something. I've never done a stream on the road before, so I don't know how that's gonna happen, but I'll try to do some research. And hopefully this is not the last Pro Chess broadcast I can give you this season. I know I like San Francisco. My family lived in Berkeley for a year, so I'm familiar with the area. Magnus will not make a transfer for the quarterfinals because once you play for a team in regular season, you're not allowed to change teams. So this was definitely Magnus's last game for the season. Yeah, I've been to Alcatraz. It's okay. It's a bit overrated, right? Okay. I'm gonna go. Bye everyone. I'm gonna host the Pro Chess League. See you next time.